Sheriff's Office. What is the address of the emergency? Okay, we'll get someone out there.
Well, we're at the Beasley PSAP, which is the new facility at 304 Beasley Drive, replacing the West Main location for the county and also replacing the Franklin 911 Center at 900 Columbia Avenue. It's been a long time coming, lots of work, lots of effort, long days, 12, 15-hour days since from June to now to develop the center that is really 13 consoles plus 2 supervisor positions that are activated and waiting now with a computer-aided dispatch system. When a call taker takes a 911 call, it comes into a phone.
911, what is the address of the emergency? 200. Okay, what's going on there?
When the dispatcher takes a phone call, it comes in on a screen just like this. They've got the phone information. And once they gather that call information from the caller, their address, their phone number, and what's going on, it's pulled over here into this computer-aided dispatch system. Comes with a map, and all the data is entered into this blank screen here, where the location is, the caller's name and their phone number, and what's going on. And then that dispatcher is able to dispatch that call via the radio, which is this console here.
Is he conscious and breathing now? All right, ma'am. We have them en route.
Calls can be answered at any desk, and the supervisors have kind of an oversight area in the middle here to see what's going on, to divide those duties. So a supervisor has the role of looking at EMS and fire or looking at law enforcement for the day. And they're also functioning call takers and dispatchers on short staff days when we need them. We have great situational awareness in this facility, as you can see. With the Emergency Operations Center downstairs, we have an activated map showing where the Franklin fire engines are today, for example. It's something we're monitoring, an active timeline for what we can expect today up in the upper right-hand corner, and great situational awareness with all of our field response partners to understand what's next, how we're going to handle this.
We're moving to our new building, and we are going to be physically consolidating with Franklin Dispatch, so it's really exciting. It's a big change, and we're getting all new pretty things and systems, and so we're all really excited.
It's been all hands on deck for the last 6 months, but particularly the last 90 days, getting, I forgot how many hundreds of miles of cable there are in this building. But just to get the technical side, the IT side, and the world we live in today, and I'm sure as you go around with your camera, you'll see the different technologies. This will be an off limits to the general public, so what you're taping will be kind of one of a kind, and we'll keep it here. But this building is not just used for that, it's also used for a training for our law enforcement community. And Bill Jorgensen had a major play in it, so did the sheriff, so did Mac, so did Steve. I mean, each one of those are responsible for their own area, their own discipline. And as time goes on, we will really see the windfall of this, because already we're being recognized across the state, across the region. This is the way to do it. It's done up first class. It's done up with security and communication in mind to get it the best for our people so that they can go to sleep at night knowing we put our resources in the right area. Then you throw in the sheriff with his equipment and his manpower. That's the way it ought to work.
EMS, because you simulcast today, you know how you currently today will send county fire and county EMS?
So what you're saying is they'll do the medical calls, I'll just do the other...
The basic fire calls, yeah.
What about Rex though? Does he do Rex also?
Anything that draws an ambulance, let him dispatch it, because you're used to simulcasting. So location will do the audio on the fire side. You'll still
But I'll have to do the audio on the
right,
EMS
but
side.
and we'll go through with Kathy
That's
to make
different.
sure. It is different, but it's because
I understand, it makes sense.
yeah. Well, now once locations across the board for both EMS, when that components kick in for them as well as fire, then one person can do both. But you all have not had that experience on the Franklin side. County has, so the idea was let those guys who have it observe.
Yeah.
Then perhaps there's that comfort level one. You can do it, but we didn't want to say, hey, this is a whole new way of doing things, and you're like, I've never simulcast, multi-selected, whatever, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
it doesn't sound too bad.
It's not. It's just
yeah.
and if you're sharp as a cookie, which you cut me as you are. This won't be hard. It's just a matter of seeing it. Yeah. So that's where I see like Brandon has an experience from a simulcast in the county. So.
Yeah. A little overwhelming coming into a new center and a lot going on, but it's an exciting future that we're seeing, and we're very pleased to see this progress. So.
Okay, and y'all were talking earlier when I poked on my camera. What were you discussing? What was the possibly something to do with the dispatch area there?
Yeah, that's our primary fire and EMS dispatching for the county and city, and we're eventually going to start going to a locution where an automated system is dispatching, doing the initial dispatch rather than you hear a voice. So we're kind of coordinating who initiates that first sequence and how it's processed. It's just an easier way to get the call out quicker. And we have our recs every day, our medical calls, and you try to put yourself in that person's place of what's happening. And I've worked bad recs at times where you have to treat that patient and try to get help to that patient as fast as you can, but still keep them calm and in a situation that you're there for them. You're going to stay on the line with them until help gets there. So it gets stressful, but you're doing the right thing and you're getting them help. So that's the most pleasing thing at the end of the day.
What are some of the challenges for you guys in moving from somewhere you've been for so long to somewhere new?
The new environment, definitely the new environment, and of course having more people that we don't know that have worked together for years, and then we've worked together for years, and bringing that together. Although kind of turns it into a good thing because they have had a part of the new system, so we're going to definitely be able to lean on each other, and I think that that's going to be a great thing for us to be able to come together and lean on each other, and I think that'll help in the bonding experience.
Well, this is a monumental day for the City of Franklin and Williamson County in their efforts to consolidate our communications center and to bring multiple dispatch centers into one consolidated effort to where we can provide a more efficient and effective service for the citizens in the county and the citizens in Franklin, Tennessee. We see this as a huge advantage for us as the way we deploy our resources in the city of Franklin. We at no point had an opportunity to know where the county EMS units were responding along with our fire vehicles to various emergencies in our city. And so now with this capabilities, they get dispatched at the same time, and usually the service level and the care level is going to increase for those citizens that are calling 911 for help.
In this building, I have selected all the technology that's gone into it and directed the team of IT folks help me implement it. There are 3 computer systems that handle phone, radio, and your general email and internet surfing capabilities. There are a lot of cables that had to be run, for that. Without the assistance from the IT department, from the county IT department, none of it would have happened on time. And then it goes for the City of Franklin's IT department also. They've been instrumental in helping with stuff that they had already gone through doing this, so it was able to lift a lot of our burden off. However, there is still a lot of moving pieces, lots of different networks that have to talk. The NCIC connection for the dispatchers is critical. I've had some issues getting that going, but it is working finally.
This was a journey that started in 2009. The flood came along in 2010. There was a real strong emphasis put on public safety in our county through the sheriff and Bill Jorgensen and many others. And eventually the county commissioners saw the wisdom of that, funded that operation, funded for the operations in the new facility, and today is the next step of the journey of hopefully this location will serve us for 25 to 50 years.
Test 1, 2. That radio's not working. Switch over to try these two over here. There's something wrong with that.
Today's our last day here. We're actually 3 of us are working here, and everybody else is going up. Is over to new building.
The day of our cutover, our intended cutover, which was November the 15th, was challenging, full of opportunities, full of issues. It seems like what was the thing that held us from going live that day, and the only thing that kept us from going live was we received 911 calls 2 different ways, one over the internet and one from the old copper lines that had been hanging from the telephone poles for 50 years, and our internet lines we were able to receive, we just could not transfer to another agency. We couldn't transfer to another 911 center. So everything we needed to get calls in and dispatch and everything was fine, except for if we needed to transfer to somebody else, we couldn't do that. So that was a challenge. And then we received, on those old copper wire lines, we received everything we needed except for phone numbers that either had a 2 or a 7 in them did not come with the address associated with that phone number. So now mind you, these old copper wire lines, about 4% of our total call load comes over those calls. So it's 4% of my total call load. Now I'm specifically looking at only the phone numbers that have a 2 or a 7 in them and somebody who can't speak to me and tell me their address. That's the person that we wouldn't be able to talk to. And because we play 100% and not close enough, we waited. That evening, we planned to go live. Our plan was bring all those internet calls to this location, leave those copper line calls at the other location, the old West Main location. And by the time we decided to make that move, there was some construction work in Nashville that had drilled into a fiber optic cable that handled all the telephone line routing in Middle Tennessee, and it knocked out their ability to access the system and make the change. So at that point, we just threw the flag and said, we'll try again tomorrow. There were things beyond our control.
Today's moving day, right? Yep.
How did you get from that day to this day with an operating center?
I think the work of the individual staff members, team members, whether they be in 911 or emergency management or the fire service, Franklin employees, county employees working together, really no different than the way they do their job every day, just a few more opportunities to be innovative, to find those challenges and look for solutions. And so that was a surge of work, similar to what we find when we have emergencies or disasters that impact our community. That's what we focus on and work with, and that's what these individuals do so well, is rise to the level of that challenge that they face.
And then, once that comes back, that's when you know you got to return it if you click it.
Explain what happened, how you used the extra time to make the center and the transition even better.
Yeah, so some of the things we ran into were database related issues, and how fire stations and EMS units and law enforcement were dispatched. So that time was used as an opportunity to improve those databases, make sure they were more accurate, make sure they were talking to each other. The Franklin IT department, county IT department, and the Department of Emergency Communications and Public Safety all came together and worked on those databases. There were 12 to 18 hour days going in while we were waiting on that phone lines to transfer over, and we had about a 24-hour period where we thought we were going to switch over, and that gave us about 18 hours of work time to refine those databases and make it more accurate.
Sheriff's Office. All right, and what is your name for my records? Okay, and a good phone number for you? Okay, not a problem. We'll get someone over there. You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Many thanks to Franklin, and it was a bold move on their part. They had to go through the processes to say, let's move all together. Let's all work with one, and that doesn't just happen. It happens because of the will of the men and women, the professionals in their ranks that say this is the best for. It's the will of a lot of the politicians behind the scenes. Oftentimes, sometimes that's the biggest barriers is the political figures just can't see the advantage of doing this. But Franklin and Williamson County were able to unite under one roof and to say this was what's best for our community here. I think in the long run, I think as we go down that road and we look at the results of this, we've hired several new people, we've combined a lot of the staff from the two different agencies, but we're all under one roof, and when that incident occurs, and it will at some point, it'll be a fire, it'll be a catastrophic event of nature. We had incidences of this week, just the drought we're having, and we had to dispatch so many people the other day out in the Fernvale community to put out a fire in the valleys. It's just makes sense to be under one roof and be able to get everything under control here at the ground level so that the things work good out on the street.
The excitement around consolidating these two dispatch centers, it makes us better day to day in answering the public's calls and those calls for service. And that collaboration and the work of the city agencies and response partners, the county response partners, working all of those together on this day-to-day type of event really is very similar to the way that we'll work if there's a large-scale emergency or disaster. This just happens to be in a controlled, kind of systematic environment, and that will be in more of a chaotic situation. And so this is moving our overall readiness forward and making us better, both at what we do day to day and better, hopefully, should we face a large-scale disaster.
What happened the second day of your transition?
On the second day, we continued troubleshooting that issue of trying to get that caller, that one caller, and that 0.001% chance of getting that one caller on our copper line to make the phone call in on that 407 phone number to be able to get to us. We were able to get all of those internet-based calls in, make a successful transfer. So we did around 3 o'clock transfer those calls over here. We made the move to bring those calls to this location. So we were up. It was a little chaotic there for about an hour. By the time we went live to receiving phone calls here and dispatching the calls out, from 3 to 5 that afternoon was a lot of chatter, because each radio dispatch position here worked with their mirror counterpart at the other agency to determine when are you done dispatching calls and when do I start dispatching my calls. So we weren't talking over each other on the radio and confusing calls. But by 5 o'clock in the afternoon, all of our 911 calls, all of our administrative lines were coming into this location, and all the calls were being dispatched out of this location.
Today is a monumental thing. We have different communities coming together for a common goal. Great sense of teamwork, great sense of pride to be a part of it. I feel very blessed to be involved in this project.
I cannot thank enough the city of Franklin and the county mayor, the city mayor of Franklin, the city administrator, and then all the public safety folks on both sides coming together. It's been really has been a blessing to see all this come together. And like I said, we've been working on this. I could say we've been working on this for 25 years, and we are now finally here.
thank you to the general public for entrusting with us your dollars, your tax dollars, to get this pulled off. But in the end, it's better for our children and better for our community.
Another one bites the dust. I guess we're going up, moving on up.